I was doing some modeling in Germany, and the photographer said, do you want to come to a gig? I said, yeah, okay. So we went to this kind of pub, and there they were. And then he says, you want to come and meet them? By then I already had my little stash of hashish that I used to carry around with me. So I offered them a joint. I said, you want to have a joint? No, we can't. So the only one afterwards, after the show, was Brian. He says, yeah, I'll have some. I remember that concert in Berlin, Mick had to stop because the girls were throwing, I mean, they were just throwing about everything on stage, you know, the chairs and everything that they could get hold of, they were just throwing it on stage. It was like really madness. It was complete anarchy, which they even turned a subway.
To escape the heavy press scrutiny and disappear until the dust had settled. So
we went to Morocco. That was more of a rebellious act against the police, you know. And that was actually quite a trip, really. It ended up very badly, because by then Brian had become very abusive and very kind of envious, and Keith couldn't bear the way Brian treated me, you know. So when we got to Morocco, Brian one day, he got ordered from the hotel, from room service, this massive tray of sandwiches, and just threw it at me, you know, and like Keith kind of says, fuck this, let's go, I'm not going to leave you with this kind of guy here.
Something of a ghost.
And Brian started to become very, very difficult to deal with for everybody, you know? And I think the drugs didn't really help, you know. I mean, nobody knew that he was going to react like that too. I mean, we all took LSD, and he reacted in a different way from all of us.
Right, again. Me.
Filming was also underway for Performance, a cult film that paired Mick Jagger with Anita Pallenberg opposite James Fox.
James Fox was such a professional, so we were all a bit kind of intimidated by him. So we kind of stuck more together, more me and Mick kind of against James Fox, the actor, you know.
This is a film about fantasy and reality and sensuality. A film about death.
But James Fox would be sitting there with the script, you know, every morning, like studying his script, and we'd just walk around smoking joints, you know, and just the opposite, just to kind of annoy him. I'm sure if that accident or whatever they call it wouldn't have happened, I'm sure he would have made another career. And he was upset, but he still had, as I say, he went to see Alex's Corner to reform a group. I mean, he was a trooper, you know, and a musician as well. All in the neighborhood. They were all in the south of France somewhere, and they would come and play, and Mick Taylor would come, and Jagger would come, and, you know, Bill Wyman sometimes. And then Bobby Keys came down there, and Jim Price came down there. Nicky Hopkins stayed with us in the house as well. It was a massive house anyway.
Oh, it was a wonderful, big, rambling, you know, luxurious villa with beautiful tropical gardens and plants and a private beach and a little jetty for a boat.
And so they decided to do the record. And for me, it was really hard work. It was like, because I was the only one that could speak French out of the lot. So I had to kind of be the kind of diplomatic intermediary between all this goings on. So to keep all of that going, then having a massive lunch every day, you know, outside on the terrace, at least 20, 30 people almost every day for lunch, you know. For me, it was like incredible hard work, but it was very exciting. I met him through his girlfriend. She was a supermodel. She was a gorgeous Texan girl called Deborah. And we became friends, and then eventually Donald tried to pull me, and then when I met Brian Jones, and when I started to hang out with him, I kind of was his idol, because that was his dream kind of type come true, you know, you want to be like half Mick Jagger, half Brian Jones.
Donald had already been working on it. In other words, there was a treatment. We'd had quite an extensive treatment that probably was 25 or 30 pages long.
I remember once we went to Saint-Tropez for a weekend, and he had this kind of pages of written stuff, and they all fell in the water, and so we had to all get them out and then iron them. So I actually ironed the script to perform. I had to reshoot a scene, And that was the one with the too much B12 doesn't hurt anybody. Where, because by then I already had a habit, and I thought I was being very secretive about it. I didn't realize everybody knew. And so he made me do that scene, and it's B12, it's a vitamin. And then he gets a good shot of my bottom.
But there are those wonderful, absolutely unpredictable moments just in the performance.
And then the scene where I go down in the elevator with blood on my whatever, and I probably hide Mick's body. And that's probably when they decided what the ending was going to be.